And in today's Health Smart, we're talking about National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Women are not the only ones at risk. The American Cancer Society says that in the U.S., about 2,600 new cases will be diagnosed in men this year. And joining us now to talk about that, a lot of important information, is Dr. John West, the author and breast surgeon with BreastLink.
Great to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. It's an important subject.
For sure. So this all sort of came to light, this breast cancer awareness for males, and in the news at least, when Beyonce's father announced.
And not only did he have breast cancer, but he tested to be BRCA2 positive, which is a real warning for people out in the community, because most of the primary care doctors would not be aware of that correlation, but that's very important for the rest of the family, future generations.
And 40,000 women will die from breast cancer this year. 2,600 men, as we mentioned, will be diagnosed. So what's the difference? I mean, obviously it's a lot more rare for men.
Yeah, I don't know if we have an absolute reason why it's so rare, but it is very unusual. For every 300 women we see at our center, we see about one male breast cancer, which is about right. The thing with the women is we've gotten so good on our imaging. We can catch the cancers from their early stage, one little bitty, do an outpatient lumpectomy, and they're basically cured. So this is a common thing we see with our women that we screen. However, with the men, they come in with more advanced lumps. They ignore, like Beyonce's father had bloody nipple discharge. Well, that's a pretty, you know, that one that you think of. But the lumps, it's just amazing to me. I had a friend who was a radiologist, a little bit older than I was, and he ended up with a lump, but it was quite large by the time he came to us. We biopsied it was cancer. We had to do basically a radical mastectomy. He had positive nodes. He ended up with lymphedema, and then he died, and it was just like, here's a doctor.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if anybody, you're taking a shower, how do you notice? How can you fail to notice that? But men seem to be oblivious in a lot of ways, but in terms of their breasts,
So we get mammograms. What can men do?
Well, basically, in the shower, they probably, if you could get them to be aware of themselves, but I just don't know how you do it. And I've been thinking about it, and I thought, well, maybe the women is who we ought to go to. Maybe they ought to say, if they're doing their self-exam, maybe they ought to come in the shower and check it out. I don't know how to go about it, but I think we have to get creative. And what we're doing now just isn't working. We're getting too many delayed diagnoses. Although the most recent one I did was an early stage 1 breast cancer. Everything went perfectly. It was a small lump. He brought it to his primary care doctor. The primary care doctor ordered a mammogram. The biopsy was positive. He had really a narrow mastectomy, easy outpatient surgery, high probability of cure. That's what we want to see. But if my doctor friend misses one until it's stage 3, I mean, what do we expect of the general population?
And then what is the difference in treatment for the two?
Well, it's similar in that most of them are mastectomies, so the women, we can do a mastectomy on most of their cancers. However, the vast majority of women nowadays, we do a lumpectomy and radiation. We've only had one male patient who he just got married, and he strongly wanted to save his breast, and we did a lumpectomy and radiated. Vast majority of them, we just do a limited mastectomy, and then of course we always check the lower lymph node. If that's positive, we take out more lymph nodes.
Doc, before we wrap it up, talk about your book really quick.
Well, my book is basically my 30+ years of experience in being dedicated solely to breast cancer. I started up as a trauma surgeon, but I really got interested in the breast cancer with the exciting new screening things we were able to detect. Rather than finding lumps like we do now on males, we were finding these non-palpable lesions and a very good prognosis. So we put together a whole system with surgeons, oncologists, radiologists, all specializing in breast cancer, and doing a one-day service where they could come in. We could get everything done in one day. If they had a problem and they needed to see the oncologist, we'd get them in to see the oncologist. So it's been a really great model, and we talk about that in the book. But more importantly, the primary care doctors really aren't familiar with the male. They're familiar with the female. This takes every woman step by step from birth to completion of her life. It goes through every step of what needs to be done. So it's a great resource. And then a lot of really important stories about the importance of starting mammograms at 40, not 50, the issue of breast density, the importance of detecting cancers in the women with dense breast. Half of them are, and those cancers hide. If we add an ultrasound, we double the pickup of small cancers. That's a fantastic benefit. benefit.
Great information. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and you can get Dr. John West's book, Prevent, Survive, Thrive, wherever books are sold, and you can learn more about him at breastlink.com/doctors.
Thank you.
Thank you.